On this video, I'm going to show you how to make a little cutting board out of scrap wood.
This is the Old Guy Network.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Old Guy Network. I'm the Old Guy, the OGJ, and I'm so glad to have you stop by the trailer hood and spend some time with me. Don't forget, you can help support this channel by buying a cup of coffee for me. It's a couple of bucks at my coffee. There's a link in the description. I sure would appreciate it because once again I'm out of coffee, and that's a bad thing. But today is a nice day. It's a beautiful day in the trailer hood, as I always say, and I am gearing up for craft shows. I mean, a lot of craft shows. Back here you can see all the squirrel picnic tables. Where is it? Right down here. There's about 20 back there, and I'm going to do probably another 30 or 40. I've done videos on how to do those, but I'm also making these little cutting boards, and they're called, can you read that? Little choppers, because you chop stuff on them, and it's got my propaganda on the back. These are nice little cutting boards. They don't require a lot of effort, but they do take some time to make, and I thought I would show people how they can make one of these. And if you don't have a planer and a joiner, you can still make these with a table saw. You're also going to need some kind of a hole saw or a bit, a Forster bit. That's what I use. And I use, to do this little bevel here, I actually use my Dremel with the plunge router attachment. And that's how I bevel the sides too. You don't have to have a whole lot of tools to make these, and these are wonderful. Just make sure when you're making any kind of a cutting board, you use the proper wood. You want something that is ultra hard wood. You want to have maple. You want to have walnut, something like that. You want to have really nice hardwood. Nothing porous, no softwoods. Oak is not suggested because it's very porous, and alder is not suggested because it turns green after time. So first it turns yellow, then it turns green, and it looks really hideous. So try to get maple is always a good choice, and if you can accent it with a little mahogany or walnut or something like that, that's really nice too. Let's see how to make one of these things. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this in the joiner and flatten them out on one side and then edge one side on each board. Now, as I mentioned before, you don't have to have a joiner or a planer, but if you don't, you're going to be doing a lot of sanding. So it really is nice to have the joiner and or the planer. It really helps a lot. That's a nice piece of maple hardwood. It's going to work well. Now we just got to trim up this edge here. Oh, out of frame. Yeah, this edge right here. We're going to trim that up with the table saw. We have our board all cut to size. And it's square. Checked it already with a square, with a speed square, and that's the size we're going to have it. Now I want to make this a 4-piece, so it's going to be a little thinner than the other one, but that's okay. I don't mind that. So what I'm going to do is cut this in 4 strips. Simple, right? So there's our 4 equal strips, and to make this look more authentic as a 4-piece board, we're just going to change up the grain patterns. Actually, let's do that one there. That looks pretty good right there. And that's what we're going to work with. Now, we're just going to glue these up. I put a little piece of Luan down just so I don't hurt the table bed. And now we're just going to glue these up real quick. Titebond 3, best glue. Exterior, interior, waterproof. You can never have too many clamps, because just when you think you have enough, you don't. And if you have a wooden mallet, this is the best time to beat the boards down. That's pretty straight. Now we wait. Just let this dry. I usually wait about an hour and a half. Then I can trim these sides up and start the sanding process.
Okay, our piece is all done, and it's all dried rather. And yeah, it needs a little sanding, so I'm just gonna sand this out nice and smooth, and then we can put the bevel on, drill the hole, and finish this up. I'm gonna start with 80 grit sandpaper. With my palm sander. Helps if you turn the electricity on. Now these are not high-end cutting boards. These aren't big cutting boards. They're just small 4-piece cutting boards, and I'm going to show you how high-end cutting boards are sanded properly. And this is a little trick that I learned a long time ago. Take your cutting board, take a pencil, and do that. And do that. And then sand it until it's all gone. Now, each time you do that, you're taking off just a little layer of the wood, and you're making it flatter and flatter. Do that a few times, and that's how you do the surface of a high-end cutting board. Now, these cutting boards are going to sell for probably 10 bucks a piece. They're not high-end. Just get them as flat as you possibly can. And then we're going to trim up the edges, because when I glued them, you can see that it... Oh, let's get it in front of the camera. You can see that it's not exactly square there anymore, right? It's not flat anymore. So we're just going to trim that up with the compound miter saw, and then we're going to put an edge. Now to drill the little hole for your finger to go in on the board, I'm using this Forster bit. And you can use a hole saw if you have a small hole saw. I just like the Forster bits because they don't have as much tear out. Don't seem to anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the hole in here. So I just measured this out and got an approximate where the hole should go. To do the bevel around the edges and on the hole, we're going to use my Dremel and my Dremel plunge router. I've already set the bit in, and there it is right there. I got it to the right height, and now we'll just get to work. My bit is getting a little dull, so it's getting a little tougher to do the edges, and we are going to sand those down nice and clean, but the Dremel with the plunge router works pretty well. Now we're just going to do the hole. And there we go. Now if you have a lot of tear out on the back side, you can always just do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And now we've got a nice comfortable handle. Now we'll just sand that up. Now this is the first sanding on this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get all the little pieces out. Okay, and then 80 grit sandpaper on my palm sander, and now I'm just going to sand the bevel. Now I'm just going to hit it real quick with the 220. And then I take some more 220, just for good measure. Roll it up, put it inside here. Nice, quick sanding. And looks like it's done, right? Well, it's not. Now, I keep saying this, these are not high-end cutting boards. They're really not. They're going to work very well. They look really nice, and when we get them all oiled, they're going to look even better. But there is a treatment you have to do first. Now, this is nice and smooth. If you could feel this, it's almost like glass. It's very smooth. But if you were to get this wet, and of course you're going to because you're going to have to wash this thing after you use it, all the little fibers in the wood are going to start to expand. That's going to make this all rough again. So we're going to go ahead and put water on it now. That's going to bring up all the little fibers. We're going to dry this out completely, and then we'll sand it down again with 220, and I'll do the whole thing. And then we only have a couple of more things to do. Now I've sufficiently wet the board. That sounds really bad. But as I feel this now, this is all rough again. No more smooth surface. This is all really, really rough. So we're going to let this dry out. I'm going to stick it in front of the fan and just let the air from the fan do its thing. And then I might put it outside. We've got a nice sunny day today. I'll put it out in the sunshine for just a couple of minutes. It doesn't really take that long. After just a few minutes, letting this dry out, put it in front of the fan first, then I put it outside, and it's all nice and dry, and it is indeed all rough again. So I'm going to hit the surface back and front with my orbital palm sander, and that's 220 grit, and then I'm going to take some 220 and just go around the edges. And as you see, I'm not putting a whole lot of time into this. Smooth, water treated. It's a little thin, yes, but it is a small board. I call these little choppers, and it's a small 4-piece board. 2 more things to do to it, and it's all done. And the next step is, it's the most satisfying for me. And what we're going to do is put some oil on it. Now you can use food grade linseed oil, you can use beeswax. What I like to use, as long as you don't have a peanut allergy, this works, or any kind of nut allergy, I use walnut oil. I like the walnut oil. It does a really nice job of brightening the wood. It makes it a little bit darker, and but it just looks really good. And you can get walnut oil at your grocery store. So just a little bit of oil. Spread it out evenly. sure you get it inside the crevices. Now, after I get that on, you can see it's a really good coat. I am going to do the bat too, but I'm going to let that sit for just a couple of minutes so the wood can soak up the oil.
And that, my friends, is how you make a simple cutting board. Yeah, it's not a high-end board. I keep saying that, but I want to drive that through. I'm not making, $700 cutting boards. And yes, there are $700 cutting boards out there. I don't know who's buying those, but they're not buying them for me. These I sell for like $10, and they work very, very well. And it's a good size, a very small size, that you can put a little hook up and just hang it right there. I like to have 2 or 3 of these in my kitchen because, I don't wash things as often as I should because I'm old and I got better things to do. So yeah, I'll have a couple of these. I might want to, chop up some vegetables on one and leave it there, and chop up some vegetables or whatever on another one, and that's what I do. So these are little choppers, and everything I just taught you or just showed you, I don't know if I taught anybody anything, but everything I just showed you can be adapted to make nice high-end cutting boards. You'd want to make them a little thicker. You'd want to make them a little smoother, probably, and using that pencil method, that will make the surface on both the top and the bottom much, much more level. Just keep going slowly with it. I like to use 220. I used to use 400, but you know what? 400 is overkill. 220 works just fine as a finished sandpaper. And don't forget to water treat it. It's very, very important. Now, if I put water on this, it's not going to swell up and get all rough. So that's it. These little boards, look for them at a craft show near you. I'm sure other people are going to be making these. I've seen a few similar ones, but this is a very simple design and little chopper, and I kind of like it. So tell me what you think about this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, or if you did rather, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the summer. I was trying to do it before the beginning of the summer, but that didn't work out. But I'm up to almost 800 right now, so we're getting really, really close to my 1,000 subscriber goal. So if you could help me out with that, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. It helps out the channel immensely. So thank you very much for spending some time with me here in the trailer hood. I sure do appreciate it. And until the next time, I'm the OG, I'm the old guy, and I'm out.